Slingin Dirt Media. I'm DJ Smollett out here in West Harrison, Indiana, with Jacob Beck. Jacob, hey man, take two. Second time's a charm, right?
Yeah, that was a blooper reel. I don't want to compliment that.
Hey, sometimes it happens, you know.
Yeah.
Technical stuff, man. I'm still learning.
At least you were actually recording it. Just
right, you know. You'll have that.
Yeah, you just kind of have them read the lips, you know.
That's right.
Yeah, it's like what is it? Exclusive content. You just got to figure out what we're talking about.
If I could put it at closed caption where all the words come up.
Oh yeah,
we're back in business. I don't think anybody watch it that way.
Yeah, Yeah, they probably get bored real quick.
All right, Jacob, tell me a little bit about your career, man. How you didn't just jump in a sprint car one day? What's going on here?
Well, I actually ran motocross when I first started. My dad used to race motocross when he first started racing and everything, and he did it for more fun, you know, it wasn't actually racing. But I realized real quick on motocross, I can't balance and race at the same time.
Yeah.
So I was
that's an important combination.
Yeah, that's a really important combination.
Especially with two wheels.
Yeah. I was over to handlebars a lot more. And,
okay.
Yeah, so I really kind of realized, I'm like, yeah, maybe I'm better on four. So I told my dad, it's like, man, I want to get a go-kart.
Okay.
And he was like, if you want a go-kart, you need to try to get it on your own. Because he's like, you're going to appreciate it so much more. So I ended up throwing newspapers and everything I think I did it for about a year and a half. And by then, he kind of realized I was actually really...
You were serious about it.
Yeah, I was serious. And
you're going to save the money. You're going to buy a go-kart.
So he started doing research, seeing what we should get, because he didn't want to buy, crap. He didn't want to buy something old where I was going to be struggling. So we ended up actually getting a Phantom Triton.
Okay.
Bought a guy out and ended up racing in 2017. It was about mid-season. Actually ran against Tristan Chamberlain.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He was about a year or so younger than me, and he was my competition and everything.
Yeah.
He would always win, and I would finish second.
That little dude can drive.
Yeah, he can drive. He could drive when he was young too.
Yeah.
I mean, he was good. But it was always me and him. He was first, and I was second every week. And my dad's like...
And where was this at?
It was out in Lawrenceburg.
Oh, okay. The Lawrenceburg track. Friday nights. Yeah.
Yep, we would run there every Friday. And I was always mad, and my dad's like, man, he's good. So he's like, at least you know what you need to fight.
You know where your competition is, and that's where it's at.
Yeah, he said, if you can get to his back bumper every week, he said, there might be one week you're not running second,
Yeah.
So we did end up winning like 4 races that year, so pretty good first season.
How long did you do the go-karts?
I ran go-karts from 2017 to 2020.
Okay.
Actually got 2 track championships and a lot of wins in between there.
Nice.
I think one of my more memorable races there was actually at Jennings County, kind of past Twin Cities. I don't know if you know that track.
Oh, yeah. I know of it. I've never been there, but I know
it's an awesome track. That's probably one of my favorite big kart tracks, Twin Cities.
Yeah.
But Jennings County, it's probably about 45 minutes past. They had 40 carts show up for medium.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a lot of carts.
Yeah. And of course, we're getting ready to go green in the heat race, going down the backstretch, and we're idling. And a dude, I guess, went to catch up to the field and hit my back bumper, jumped up and landed on the rear axle, bent the axle before we even went green.
Oh no.
So here we are. We put an axle in it because we had a backup cart. And I'm like, and my dad's like, you just race that one. I'm like, no, we got to run this one.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. So we put an axle in it. And we ended up starting like 22nd of the B.
Yeah.
Took top 3. We finished 3rd.
Yeah, not bad. It's a good recovery.
Yeah, started last of, which was like 20th.
Yeah.
Of the feature.
So is it easier to change axle in go-kart? Or a front axle on one of these?
Oh, no, it's so much harder in that rear axle. I mean, you got to slide it out of the bearings, and then put the hub in.
I've heard changing the axle on these are pretty easy.
Oh, yeah, it's like there's 5 bolts holding it, the panhard, the radius rods, and the shocks.
Okay.
I mean, it's
just literally a 5-minute job.
Yep, literally. I mean, if you're quick,
Yeah,
but it isn't that hard. But we ended up starting last of the feature of the kart. We drove all the way up to 5th. My dad's leaning over the fence like, settle, we're happy with 5th.
Yeah.
And then I looked, I'm like, I'm catching 4th. And then right when I got to 4th, a guy running 5th clipped my rear bumper and spun me out.
Oh, no.
So he going back to the tail. I think by the time there's like 15 of us, people's dropped out.
Yeah.
And we ended up driving with like 10 laps to go from 15th to 1st and ended up winning the race on the last lap. So, I mean, it was a pretty cool win.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Pretty cool recovery. And then my dad looked at me and was like, that was a points race, and we weren't planning on running points that year.
Right,
here we are leading it now.
So I guess now we got to try this points thing.
Yeah, we got to try it. And I suck at points, dude.
Really?
So, yeah. My track championships, they were like stressful.
Yeah.
Because, points stress people out.
So here's what I got to ask about go-karts. Is the tire work as much as people says it is?
I would go to the track, actually last year, both sides of my trailer, and it's a 28-foot trailer, were full.
Really?
Tires. I mean,
so there's a lot of work in tires just for go-karts.
So Lawrenceburg and Cincy's Hamilton County, they're open tire. So you can run any brand.
Anything.
Now, if you go to Columbus or like Clay City, they're burst only. And if you want to go burst racing, you best have like 10 sets of burrs.
Really?
If you're running like more than one class, because you just switch them that much.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, you're constantly on tires. I mean, the next day I'll clean my cart. I'll wake up at like 9 o'clock. I'll have both my carts clean and maintenance, and the rest of the night I'm freaking
tires.
I'm doing tires. And people like tires have won me races and tires have lost me races because the race would go on longer than you thought it was going to.
So the tire work on carts. Is the tire work on this anything like the tire work on a go-kart?
Well, with the 305 and everything, they actually, once you run them once and they get hot, you ever heard of like people like buzzing their tires under caution to keep them warm because they don't want them to seal over? So if you were actually race and then pull off, you have to take a buffer to this or they seal over.
Seal over.
And then you're going to have to basically get all that crust off. Yeah. So now go-kart tire, I mean, you're constantly on them. You're
way more work in a go-kart tire.
Way more work.
Than
I
these.
mean, you're not allowed to do anything to these anyway. But, but like go-kart tires, you're prepping them constantly.
Yeah.
And that stuff, it's bad for you.
Right,
My dad ended up in the hospital over some tire prep once.
Really?
He had a cut on his hand.
Yeah.
It started pouring down rain at Clay City. I'm like, grab the frog, which is his prep. And he grabbed it, and he had a cut on his hand. And got in his bloodstream, and he had blood poisoning for like a week.
Wow. That's some dangerous stuff.
Yeah, they didn't think he was going to make it.
Wow.
It was bad stuff. It's funny. He actually got it back there for the go-kart still. So
So you go, what's your in-between here? You go straight from go-kart to a sprint car?
I jump. My dad kept telling me, he's like, man, I don't want you in a sprint car. But he always, he had that hint around. He's like, but once you turn 18, I can't
stop you.
Can't stop you. So basically it's the same thing again. He's like, if you want to do it.
Yeah.
He wanted me to go put the work in first. He wanted me to find, because he's like, sprint car racing is so much work. You're in the garage constantly.
Yeah.
Like, with a go-kart, I was in it constantly anyway, so that didn't bother me. And I love working on sprint cars. I think they're neat. They're just such a unique car.
These are like an animal.
Yeah, it's like wrestling an alligator sometimes. If your car is not set up right, you find out real quick, like, it's off. You're like, these what's his name? Can't think of his name, but basically he teaches people how to race sprint cars out in California. And he was like, you either find out you're really loose in a sprint car or really tight.
Yeah.
Like that too, He said there's no in between,
Right.
It's not like another car where you hit a bump, you're like, yep, the car's tight,
Right.
This, you get on the gas, you're like, yep, it's too loose.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're very simple to set up, but they are very complicated once you get into them.
Now, I've never sat in one. I've never drove one, but I see, and I feel like I did this some in a modified. You see guys keeping the front wheels back and forth, back and forth. Is that to keep the car loose? So, or what's going on there?
What do you mean by like under caution? Or?
So like I did it a lot in the corners. I would be at my front wheels. I would have my front wheels going, but I feel like I could control the car that way.
Yeah.
I've also seen sprint cars are doing the same thing.
I think a lot of it's like you don't even know what you're doing.
Okay.
Because people are like, man, how do you know where your wheels are? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you're going through the corner and you're. Yeah. I'm like, you feel it in your ass.
Yes.
Like how the car's handling. So your body. A lot of time you're not even turning the wheel.
Yeah.
You're just doing that of your body's telling you to.
It's kind of a, if I'm picturing this right, like a hand, eye, foot coordination. You're making all that. And control the car.
That a second. I mean, I think a lot of it is you're sawing on a wheel and you're like you don't realize you're doing it. You know. But sometimes you see people sawing on, you're looking at the tires, they're barely even moving.
Right. So I've seen a lot of sprint cars do this too. And again, I'm not a sprint car guy. I don't know a lot about them. I think they're cool as hell. But so like push them through the pits and stuff, and you'll see the front tires doing
wobbling and everything.
Yeah, is that normal?
Yeah, they're normal. I mean,
I'm like, that doesn't look normal.
A lot of it's to do with the rear stagger and everything. Okay. It kind of like, I always used to say the same thing. You watch it and their tires are moving, but you look at their wheel and they're just holding it. Yeah. I think it's just, everything's so loose on these cars, they just kind of move a little bit. Not saying they're like the bolts are loose, but it's just the car's free like that. But I mean, I let go of the wheel at Lawrenceburg one day, idling around, and I could feel the tires doing
Yeah,
that. But
you
I look
feel
at the
it.
wheel and it's stiff. You know,
Right,
it's
right.
straight. So I don't think you really notice it.
So I've seen you in non-wing stuff,
Yep.
and now you got a wing. What's going on there?
Well, we love the non-wing and everything. It's just my dad's always wanted to race wing cars. Actually, when he ran sprints, the most fun he ever had was in a wing car.
Okay.
He ran 2 all-star races and made the show one night. Like his
Yeah.
second night, he's like, "This is fun." He wished he could have done it more.
Right.
So when he heard about the Race Saver 305 series, he's like,
Okay.
That's
So
something
that's
we
where
can
we're
do.
at now.
yeah. So,
Okay.
and he even talked about it too. He's like, because we jumped straight. We took a year off of sprint car racing. We did some go karts, but he's like, I want to do this for a couple years, and then he was like, we'll decide if we want to continue wing racing or
Sure.
we'll go back to non-wing racing. And so far, I mean, I've ran one race and I'm in love with it.
You're
I
in
mean,
love with the wing.
I love wing race. I mean, I love driving it.
Yeah.
I don't like watching it. I mean,
really?
I love non-wing racing. I mean, I grew up around it, so.
Now, I would have to imagine there's a big difference in how you drive a car with a wing and a non-wing.
It is. There's a big difference. I think why I'm doing as decent as I am on this, it's kind of go-kart-esque. I mean, you go-kart, you go in and you're straight, you know, on the gas, kind of straight, you know,
Yeah.
pedal it. This one, it's on the gas and hold the wheel, you know, because
Yeah.
that wing does a lot of the work.
Does a lot of
When
work.
you watch these cars get in and they're leaned over. But the non-wing cars, you're always kind of tossing it in.
Yeah, yeah.
So-
I've seen guys like at the flag stand. I mean, they're turning that thing
they're
at the flag
sideways,
stand.
yeah. But no, I was always told a wing car gets you into the corner.
Okay.
Your job's to get you off the corner and down the front stretch or the back stretch.
Okay.
Non-wing cars is you get it in the corner and it'll get you off the corner.
Okay.
So they're kind of
Backwards.
reversed that way, you know. Setup wise, I mean, when I ran Lawrenceburg non-wing, my right rear spacing at the beginning I was like 22 inches
Okay.
out. This one's 17 3/4.
Okay.
So it's a little bit more in.
So your guys' wheel spacing, that makes big changes in your car.
Yep. Front axle is different. The front axle on a non-wing car is 53 inches wide,
Right.
where this one's 50.
Okay.
And a lot of it is because since the non-wing car doesn't have the wing, your right front's out 3 inches.
Yeah.
So it pins your left rear.
Okay.
Where this one lets it kind of get
Yeah.
over a little bit more because you're not sideways, you know,
Right.
so it's not going to try to tip itself over.
Yeah, yeah.
So this one's straight and smooth and don't
Keep it-
saw on that wheel, you know.
Yeah.
If you're sawing on it, you're got your setups wrong,
Right,
you know.
right.
Or you're driving like an idiot.
So wings, non-wings, go-karts. Have you done anything else? Anything in between?
Actually, I had my non-wing car, and I bought a mini sprint to try it because I convinced one of my buddies to get one, and he let me try it out. I broke his chain the first time out in it. Yeah, I would try to tell him too. I'm like, "Don't let me in your stuff, dude, because I break it." But
I'll break it.
yeah, and he's like, "Go out there." I had a blast with it.
Right.
We thought about the reason I got one is because we actually thought about on an occasion because there would be sometimes we'd take off because we
Yeah.
only ran Lawrenceburg really. I mean, we ran Paragon, Putnamville. I ran Bloomington once, and that's about it. I mean,
Okay.
and Twin Cities.
Yeah.
But mini sprints on an occasion, like we'd be off, and the mini sprints be running. So
Okay.
I'm like, we'll try it. I probably did like a practice day at Moeller, and I'm like, yeah, I'm over it. I don't want it anymore. So I ended up selling it, and actually I bought the Holy Roller, which was the black car I had. The reason I got that nickname is a dude I bought it off of lived up in Columbus, Ohio, and he gave me the address. When I showed up, it was a church.
Really?
Guy owned a construction business and was flipping the church into a house
Oh.
with a garage. Like, so
Yeah,
where
yeah,
all
yeah.
what is it, the pier or the pews or
Oh
whatever?
yeah, the pews. the
Yeah, that
benches.
was his garage.
Really.
It was on the second story. It was a roller. It was a 2018 DRC that
Hence the
Holy
Roller.
Roller. So that was a roller. Chris Wyndham used to race it because I
Okay.
took it to DRC and had him look at it, and they
Yeah.
told me who they sold it to, which was the Baldwins, which was the orange number 5.
Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, I bought off him. I actually had to take it apart piece by piece and walk it down the stairs
really.
because it wasn't he. Like I said, he was building it. He wasn't.
He was
done.
building it inside.
Yeah,
So
he
how,
was-
how was he going to get it out?
He was gonna make her door when he made it
Oh,
to
he
that
was gonna
point.
put it in.
So
Yeah,
he actually runs out Atomic. He races a wing car.
Okay.
So the reason why he was selling it is because he realized he couldn't build a non-wing. Like it was a non-wing
Yeah.
DRC,
Yeah.
but it was the standard rail.
Okay.
Where wing cars are 1-inch race
raised
because they
rail.
lean over.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I have no use for it. So he sold it to me. I think I got it for like
You got a deal on it.
I think I got like $8,500 for it.
Okay.
Pretty good. And when I got home, I was like, it was worth every penny too.
Yeah.
It was all brand new parts.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, I got nicknamed Holy Roller.
So does sprint car guys? I know a lot of modified guys, late model guys. They will name their cars. This car's got a name. You know, Josh Rice has got every Betty in the book. He's had Black Betty and Betty White.
Yep.
He's got his thing. You know, other guys. I mean, there's other names. Do sprint car guys do that too?
I do it. I do it because it kind of separates them too. You know, because when you're talking about like, man, the car hung like a handle like this, and my dad would be like, when? Like, what car was that?
Which car was that?
And I just tell him the name. Like, so Holy Roller was a black non-wing car I had, black and yellow one. This one's Diva.
Diva.
Because I can't say that on air what she's been, but
okay. So this one's named Diva.
anything that could go wrong has went wrong.
Really?
So I bought it off a guy, and it was a roller. And when I got it home, we looked into it, and we were looking like a lot of the stuff needed to replace. It wasn't like it was junk parts. It's just it was oddball stuff, you know.
Right.
So everything on this car's been replaced except for the steering gear and the frame.
Wow.
So this is a whole new car. Which in the long run, that's awesome. Because at least I know what's in it now.
Sure.
You know, it's not
you
like
know every nut and bolt to it.
Yeah. So everything. So that she's been named Diva. Actually, another reason is we took her to the dyno.
Okay.
It bent a valve on the dyno first pass.
Really? Wow.
And this is a sealed motor.
Yeah.
So the heads, the injection, and the timing cover are all sealed. So if you want to break the seal, you got to get a hold of the IMCA because you got to take pictures, you got to save the seals, you got to make sure it's okay. Then you have to pay a guy to come out.
Wow.
And reweigh every valve.
Wow.
So it cost me like $400 to get it resealed just to fix like a $20 part.
Yeah. So essentially, it's like a crate motor.
Yes, it is a crate motor.
It's a crate motor, but you guys can, if you go through the right steps, you can redo it.
Yes, you can redo it. Like like they say these motors can last about 100 races.
Really?
So, and I think we got an idea, parts, labor, and any machine work, which is rarely ever needed.
Right.
It's like $4,500 for a rebuild.
That's not bad.
But the only thing I don't like about it, which I get, it's for rules. Like I said, the guy had to come out. He would have to go to the place that's building it, weigh the crank cam, the valves, check the spring rate, and then you would assemble it there in front of him, and he clips the seals, and you're done.
And you're done.
Yep. And that's just to keep it fair, you know. I mean,
sure.
You can build these things as big as you want, but they have to have certain parts, you know. Okay. So that's why they weigh them to make sure you're not shaving stuff, you know. So
I'm curious. Can you use this motor in other types of cars?
I would imagine, yeah, for sure.
Could you put it in, say, like a modified frame?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's just the mounts and everything. You know, make sure you got the right mounts.
Yeah. Mounting it upright.
Yeah, I mean, this is basically a sprint car motor. Like, you look at a non-wing car and you look at that and you're like, they look the same. The only thing you can tell is the difference is one's a steel block, where most 410s now are aluminum.
Because I would have to imagine this is a pretty popular motor.
Oh, yeah.
This is a pretty popular process. So if there's another series in let's say a street stocks or a beginner type of modifieds that I know like sport mods, they use a crate engine. Maybe this would be an alternative that the sport mods could use as a cheaper alternative.
Right, yeah, I would imagine as long as it falls in the rules and everything you can use it. Cause
I know they run the 602 crate engines.
Right.
Now, I know there's a configuration where you can run an open motor or you can run the sealed motor. The sealed motor is a 602.
Right.
The open motor has to be less than 390 cubic inches.
Right.
So that way the two are supposedly comparable. The crate motor can run a 4-barrel carburetor, but the open motor can only run a 2-barrel.
2-barrel, okay.
Yeah. To try to balance them out. You know, some guys are just hell-bent on, I want to build my own motor. Okay, you can build your own motor, but it's got
to follow in these rules.
It's got to follow in these rules and these limitations. Compression. There's a compression rule.
And we could even build this too, but like I said, you're going to have that guy come out.
Sure, you got to go through the process.
Right, so, I mean, the block and everything's, you know, your normal 305 block and everything where, I mean, it's not like it came out of a car, but, you know, it's basically like a cast of it, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So, and then everything else is, you know, whatever you can get.
Speaking of modifieds and other classes, have you ever drove anything like that?
Now, I would actually like to try to run a modified because I
Yeah.
think those cars are probably like one of the hardest race cars to run.
Sure.
I mean, I could be wrong too, but I mean, just watching them and everything, you're like, how do you, how does it work?
How do you take big motor and put a little tire?
Like, little skinny tires, and
Yeah.
then like, well, like we talked about before we had our technical difficulties.
Take two.
The way, I mean, I drive a stick, like normal car every day,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like you watch these people push the pedals and to go forward, where like
Yes.
in a normal car, it's you take it out.
Yeah,
You
so
gotta go
it is backwards, opposite of like a standard shift transmission where you let off the clutch to engage. These are Burt transmissions, Falcon transmissions. They're completely the opposite, where you push the clutch pedal in to engage. So you're essentially giving it gas and clutch at the same time. Now, the easy part about it is that's just for your low gear.
Right.
Once you get going and you're rolling, you get up to speed, you just take your foot off, take it out of low gear, put it right into high gear, and it's a direct drive.
and you're done. And,
Yeah, done.
Like, and I mean, I'm dumb, so this is either in or out. You know
It's
what
in
I
or
mean?
out, yeah.
It's that's simple. Like, if you get in the wall a little too much, pops out of gear,
Yeah.
you just shut the car off. You're done. You know.
I was helping a buddy of mine. This was years ago. They used to have the Race of Champions at Lawrenceburg, and they'd have a couple NASCAR guys come in. And I was helping a buddy of mine was Gary Engel, and Sterling Marlin was driving his car that night. So we're helping. Sterling gets in the car and he's putting his belts on, and he just that southern accent, southern twang. He just says, "So that's one of them pedals you mash down on to make it go, right?" And so like, yeah, that's it. You just mash down on it and make it go.
Yeah, whatever you just said, bud.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Great guy. He was,
I remember my dad saying he went down to Florida, the race a sprint car, and I was probably like 4,
Yeah.
and they're looking at it and they're like, well, these are just them dune buggies that have that water pipe they use, and Dad's like, oh my God, where are we? You know,
Where are we?
Yeah, and they thought these were made out of freaking water pipe.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't know. They've only seen stock cars at
Sure.
the time, but you know, it's funny though. Those are probably like the nicest people you'd ever meet
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, he told me he had a rock go through his radiator, and he was done for the week, and he was camping down there to enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Sure.
And the guy's like, I saw you had a rough night. He said, yeah. He said, we're done for the week. And he said, what happened? And you show him the radiator. He's like, I could fix that. He comes back the next morning and
No way.
it's fixed. Yeah, it was. I mean, it wasn't like
Oh, okay.
a hole, but it was
Yeah,
little.
yeah.
And he patched it up.
Hey,
And, you know, they went racing.
nice.
Yeah.
Good to know people.
Yeah, right? And I mean,
It's good to know strangers.
my dad's like, here's $50. He's like, oh, no, I just wanted to help you out. So,
Yeah.
He didn't want nothing. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you guys running race
Saber.
savers.
Yep, race
It's
saver.
hard, it's hard to say sometimes.
Yeah, right. Well, you're thinking of that radio. Race
The race savers. Yeah. Do you guys run those too?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. People are like, can you actually hear us? No, I can't. I don't know if it's just me, but the way I've learned over the years is if they're screaming really fast, someone's probably flipping.
Oh yeah.
If they're calm, it's a yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're like, you know, these things scream at you so loud. Mm-hmm. It might just be me, my headphones, but like, you know,
Yeah,
I don't
could be.
understand what you're saying.
Really?
Yeah.
You have a hard time hearing.
Yeah. It might just be me.
It might just be.
Yeah, I might be just deaf. But no, I mean, that's how I've learned, especially at Lawrenceburg. It's freaking motor screaming at you, and people start screaming at you real fast, and you're like, I guess someone's flipping.
I guess there's something going. I've had guys say, like, if you hit the button and it keys up, but you don't say anything, I've had guys actually say they could hear that. Just
Really?
The keying up part, yeah. So you might want to check your
Yeah, I might need
earbuds.
to look at that.
You might need to check your earbuds. Hey, bud. Maybe not use the AirPods.
Right? Yeah. I wish it was that easy, because I have the tendency of ripping them out when I put my helmet on.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we run the receiver and everything.
Okay.
I mean, actually, this last time, these motors are a little bit quieter, so I mean,
Yeah.
you can kind of understand people a little bit.
I
But when
guess.
you're idling around too, you're kind of
Yeah.
you're in that mental focus too. You're really not focusing. But,
Right.
I mean, you hear them, but
Yeah. So you
it's
guys,
awful.
what's your schedule look like for the race savers?
so we're actually going to be at Lawrenceburg June 8th.
Okay.
I think it's the only time we get to go. I've been telling people to go to that one.
Yeah.
We'll be at Florence twice, Moeller. We'll be at Atomic this Saturday,
Okay.
which is, I don't know, it was like May 10th.
Okay.
Right, I think.
Yeah.
Atomic, Perrigan, Putnamville, Bloomington, Moeller, 35 Raceway,
Okay.
which we were supposed to run there last week. They got canceled.
Rained out.
We could actually go to Nebraska and run the 305 Nationals, which
Oh,
is
really?
like, I think, $10,000 to win.
Nice.
But they're like you best be on your A game.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
are
yeah.
tough.
That's like Justin Clark stuff.
Yeah, like really tough stuff.
That boy is
he
good.
can drive. Yeah.
Yeah, Justin was on it.
But yeah, we ran Atomic for my first race. It was actually a national event, IMCA.
Yeah.
And the rule is with IMCA, your first ever race you run with them, just the only first and only one, unless you're a squirrel. You have to start to tail of every race, no matter how you finish.
Really?
So I could have won the heat race.
And still had to start
tail. And I started like 10th. I moved up a couple spots. I was just struggling to, I'm still getting used to
right
the wing car. I mean, I ran Lawrenceburg practice, but I was by myself,
Yeah.
I wasn't flying, but I was pretty quick. I kind of figured it out pretty quickly. But we ended up starting like 21st of the feature.
Uh-huh.
We were up to 11th, and on the last corner, I jumped the cushion, snapped the front axle around into the wall. It didn't break nothing, but I fell a couple spots.
Yeah,
fell to like 13th. So I mean,
not too bad.
First time in a wing car, I was pretty happy with it.
Yeah.
My dad was ecstatic. He thought that was freaking awesome.
Yeah,
because we were on the wall every single
You're up there, getting her done.
Yeah, but it was fun.
So growing up, tell me, who's your favorite driver?
Local driver. I looked up the Michael Fischester.
Okay.
I think a lot of it's because I actually got to meet him. My dad, when my dad first got out of sprint car racing, he actually called Michael and said, "Hey, I know you're getting into it." He's like, "I got some parts, come get them."
Yeah.
I think Michael tried to pay him. He's like, "No." He's like, "Just take it. This is going to sit." So Michael was definitely a lot of help. Actually, in go-karts, he taught me a little bit how to drive one, just to get an idea. We ended up winning the night, first time he came down to
Came
watch.
and helped you out.
Yeah, we ended up winning, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Actual, USAC guy, I would say. I mean, he didn't run a lot of USAC. Was Darren Clayton. I love Darren Clayton, the modern-day cowboy. My dad ran against him. My dad even liked Darren. He was just off the wall. So. Yeah. And it's coincidence we actually have the same number, too. So I think that's pretty cool.
Is that where your number came from?
No, actually, my dad was number 98. My uncle ran sprints, too, at the same time. He was number 99. I just thought it'd be cool. But I didn't want to be, 97 or something. So I wanted to be a little bit different. So I went to the other side of the 90s. So my sister's 92. I tried to convince her to be a different number. I didn't want her to copy me. But
so you're both 92.
Yeah, we're both 92. She's 92X, though. So I made her. She had to put a letter on it. So.
I knew a couple guys that had modifieds, and one guy, he ran a 90. Well, they couldn't both be 90. They were like teammates. So one was 90 and one was 92.
Right.
He said, well, I'm 90 also. I'm, just 90, I'm 92.
There you go.
So, okay, it's a play on words. I get you.
Right, but I also think it's kind of cool because, you always see a number 5 or number 2.
Sure.
Or
there's popular numbers.
Yeah, or number 11. Because my motocross number, actually, when I first started racing, was number 11.
Okay.
But, I don't know. I kind of like the 90s stuff more because you don't see it. I mean, I think there's one other dude I've ever met that has a number 92.
Yeah.
And he don't even race no more.
Right.
So.
It seems like there is. There's always popular numbers. There's 18s, there's 21s, there's 10s and 5s and 8s.
I like being different.
Yeah.
I mean, I wear hot pink gloves.
Okay.
I like being different.
Got it.
So.
Nailed it.
Yep.
Got it. Where'd you go to school at?
I went to Taylor High School from about first grade all the way up to my sophomore year, and then I went to Diamond Oaks for junior and senior year.
Yeah.
I took auto collision painting. I wanted to be a welder, but it filled up too quickly, and they're like, well, if you get your stuff done, we'll let you take your other half. You just won't be certified. So I did auto collision. I do fiberglass, dent repair, paint, all that stuff. Actually, on the side, people that race would be like, hey, can you
repair this?
Fix my go-kart nose. The floor fell out in it, and I'd fix it for them. And a lot of the times, kids, I was getting people giving me used go-kart bodies, and I'd fix them and paint them, just give them to a junior kid, someone that,
Getting into it.
Nice. I think I painted one that was a Barracuda purple. It had blue pearl in it. It was beautiful. I think it got junked out the first night, though. So it didn't last long.
So what do you do for a living? Where do you work?
I actually work at Napa Auto Parts.
Okay.
We own 8 locations. I'm actually the utility guy. So basically, I do about everything. When I first started, I was a warehouse guy.
Yeah.
Then I got promoted about a month into warehouse manager.
Okay.
Brad Wick?
Yeah.
His dad was actually my boss when I first started.
Really?
So, and then he went on vacation. He was a warehouse manager at the time.
Okay.
He went on vacation. He came back, and I was the warehouse manager. I was his boss.
That's funny.
But I did warehouse. I did counter. Our our box truck driver does our, like I said, we own 8 locations, so we would do parts distribute.
Sure.
So our box truck driver threw his back out. So for a week here, I was driving a 36-foot straight truck, and they're like, my boss like, you ever have any experience driving anything that big? I said, well, I haul my trailer, and he said, perfect. I'm like, it's not that tall though, you know.
It's a little different, but okay.
But I mean, they tell me to jump, I gotta say how high. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I fill in for a lot of people, and they take a lot of good care of me. Like I tell them I'm going racing, or like what day, and I'm gone. You know.
Nice.
Or my boss too. I'm like, hey, I need parts, and he goes, how much this time? You know, and then he's really good to me.
Good.
So.
Good. Did you play any sports growing up?
Throughout high school, I started about 7th grade year. I was playing lacrosse.
Okay.
I did play a little bit of basketball. I wasn't very good at it. I can't jump.
I can't jump either.
Yeah, so I played lacrosse. I played defense my first year. Then I started to move to attack because I realized I got thrown around real easy. So it's kind of hard to be a defense guy if you're always getting knocked down.
Yeah.
I played attack.
Pushed around a lot.
Offense.
Yeah.
And then we played indoor lacrosse, and my goalie got hurt that game. So they threw me in goal just to try it. And ended up winning that game first night out. So I was like, man, I actually kind of like playing goalie.
Kind of like playing goalie.
And I just like the fundamentals to it, too, because there's so much hand-eye coordination. Like, I used to be able to juggle.
Really?
Because it was hand-eye coordination. So before the game, I would juggle to get myself going.
Yeah.
And I think I played about 3 years of goalie until I graduated. And, I mean, the goalie aspect's so much cooler and everything. Plus hand-eye coordination. I mean,
reflexes.
Hand in hand with this,
Yeah. I actually played a little goalie in soccer when I was in high school.
See, I couldn't, I used to be able to run like that. Yeah, I couldn't
I didn't like
that.
all the running, so that's why I played goalie.
There you go. It works out.
I just sit there.
Yeah, I used to run a lot of track, too. I mean, I could run a mile forever. I can't do that anymore. I'm fat
1,600 meters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say I'm fat. I'm only like 130 pounds, but I'm out of shape now.
I'm rounds of shape.
So,
huh?
That's the other problem with this is my weight. Like we got to weigh 1550. I got about 70 pounds of lead on the car.
Wow.
We actually got to shave 10 pounds off because I got a steel floor pan in it.
Okay.
So it's just like a 1/4 inch thick steel.
Yeah.
And it weighs the car down a little bit, so I got to take 10 pounds off.
Do you guys have a weight break for fire suppression?
So we do have a fire bottle on it.
Okay.
So it's like the crap part is I wish it was a little bit more than just 25 pounds.
Right.
But,
how much does the bottle weigh?
It's like the bottle weighs about 10 pounds. So it's like you're 25 plus that, so 35.
Yeah. Okay.
It was $1,000 still.
Sure.
So I mean, for sheer safety,
But it's safety.
Yeah, that's worth it at that point.
Sure.
But I'm like,
it's like spending money for a good helmet.
Yeah.
It's safety. It's important to have something.
Yeah, my helmet's about $800. I mean, that ain't expensive. I've seen a belt RS7 carbon fiber. That's $5,000. I'm like, who just got money just to buy a $5,000 helmet? And then they put a paint job over it too.
Right. So you're gonna spend another $2,500.
Yeah. So that's why I always get the plain ones because I usually get mine painted. So
yeah, not this guy.
Yeah, no. I've been meaning to. Tracy Fisher does it.
Yeah.
Does my helmets. She doesn't like doing mine because I changed my mind like the wind.
Yeah.
She finally got mad at me one day and she was like, just send me a bunch of pictures of the helmets you like and I'll match them all together. And I'm like, surprise me type of thing. And I sent her probably about 120 pictures.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And she's like, oh my God, this is harder than I thought.
Yeah, how are you going to put 120 helmets?
Yeah, just mash them all together. So
yeah, I think I would maybe try to keep it a little more simple. Like, here's 5. I like these 5.
My thing is I like aspects of all of them. So.
No, I know, man. I tell you what, I'm horrible at like graphics and stuff. I know Michael Lefevre, Slicker Graphics, he does a great job. John Whitney, he just gets me. I mean, his style, I love his style. Guys, they're both great, but I'm just so picky. It's like I want this and I want that and I want this color and this pinstriping this color.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I'm doing their job for them. I just can't do the.
I'm picky too when it comes to stickers. Like I always hate when people send you a picture of like what your wrap design is going to look like on like just off a computer because I'm like that looks like crap. And then when you see it in person, you're like it's pretty good, you know. But on computer, it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
Like CSG, the guy that did this one, he did my last car.
Yeah.
And I love the last car. And he sent me a picture of this, and he knows how picky I am. He's like, I kind of need to get it done now. So he was kind of hinting around like, don't be too picky.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fine, first year.
You're in a time window here.
Fine, first year, I'll be fine. It can look like this. Next year, we're going to go all out.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Actually, Diamond Oaks painted the car for me. They painted it black. It was white.
Oh, really?
Because I hate white cars. I swear to God, every sprint car is white.
Okay.
Yeah, if you look at like half the field at Lawrenceburg,
Yeah.
I think most of them are white.
Or white, okay.
But yeah, we painted it black. They just kind of did it as a school project thing.
Yeah. Now, they do the frame or the body or both?
Just the body.
Just the body.
Yeah, the
okay.
wings were already black.
Okay.
Which I think those were just rattled can black. Yeah, the guy who got it off of his head. I'm like, it's probably going to get junked out of the end of the
It's a
year
race
anyway.
car.
Yeah, it's going to get junked.
Yeah.
But yeah, they painted it black. I didn't like white body. They actually they were trying to convince me to do a chameleon, which is like when it's a paint job when it hits a different light, different color. I'm like, you know how hard that'd be to like match a wrap up with?
Yeah.
Because it's a different color everywhere.
Yeah.
So
how do you color coordinate with that?
I don't know. It was going to be like copper, bronze, like a bronze gold, and then it would change to green.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah,
I've seen cars going down the road. It's like green and weird.
Yeah, that
purple and like.
And I'm like, that'd be freaking cool because it'd be different.
It's different, yeah.
But that'd be so hard to put stickers with,
I worked for a guy years ago, and he had his chassis painted pearl white.
Oh,
it looks really cool.
Oh, I bet it did.
But at the end of the day, it gets the crap beat out of it, and then it don't look so good.
Or a freaking oil leak on it.
Yeah,
yeah. My dad actually had white sprint car frames, and he loved them until he went to Florida and the sand hit it.
Yeah,
and
like sandblasted.
It sandblasted it. It was
horrible.
Yeah. My old non-wing car, the black one, was bare metal.
Yeah.
So
I've seen that. That looks good.
I had to learn. I liked it, but I didn't like it at the same time.
Right.
Linseed oil. I learned that off of KO Motorsports, the guy that Chase Stockton raced for.
Yeah.
And that Jason McDougal and Kayla Roll. They told me to put linseed oil on the frame rest because it acts as a clear coat. But you got to apply it every so often. I actually was putting them on my headers now because when it gets hot, it turns the headers black for like 2 or 4 races.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, after it washes off, But yeah, so it makes your car look better too.
There you go. Well, we're talking about stickers. Let's talk about your sponsors. Who's your sponsors?
One of them is actually my neighbor right down the road,
Okay.
Gabbard's Feed Mill. They're a really cool family. I mean, I go over there on occasion, help them with their cows and everything.
Yeah.
I think they were sending me up for failure one day, though. They had me out there, and that cow's being a little stubborn, and they're like, grab it by the tail and twist it. I'm like, I have to stand behind it.
Wait a minute.
And what they're trying to do, because the cows don't like,
Yeah.
And I'm like, this thing's going to kick me, guys.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, you'll be fine." I'm like, "You're sending me up for failure. You're picking on the new guy."
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, but no, I mean, they're really awesome people. Actually, when I fired off my car, I used his driveway to turn it around.
Turn around and come back.
And I didn't tell him I was doing it one day. And I went up, and he's got 3 entrances, and it's gravel. And it starts to blubber, and I get on the gas, and it does like a fish tail and kicks gravel everywhere.
Yeah.
And then the dust settles down as I'm idling there. He is smiling at me, and he waves at me, and I'm like, glad
at least he was cool with it.
Glad you're not mad, dude.
Yeah.
And we went back. Another one is the guy I used to race go-karts with. His name's Robbie Young. He Next Gen Builders.
Okay.
He taught me a lot of everything I needed to know in go-kart racing. He was kind of the tire guru. He kind of taught me. He's a really, really awesome dude. He goes to the casino a lot in Lawrenceburg, so you might run into him there.
Yeah.
So, Northern Yankee Moonshiners. They're out in Ripley, Ohio. He actually was on Master Distillers.
Oh yeah.
He won the
TV show.
Yeah, he won the competition.
Really?
So actually, the way I met him is my old sponsor is Iron Horseman.
Okay.
I was at their club one day, and funny story there, I'll tell you that. I met him and I was talking to him, and he's like, "I'd be interested in sponsoring you," and then he threw this. I'd meet up with him, and I'd sell his product too, because people would be like, "Hey, get me this," and we trade. It was basically like bootlegging,
Yeah.
Here
you're getting moonshine.
Yeah, and money too, and I'm giving him money too. So, but no, the funny story.
We won't tell nobody.
Yeah. Funny. Yeah, hopefully that doesn't get seen. But the Iron Horseman, we were really good friends with him because we were friends with one of the guys.
Yeah.
And I've been there a couple of times with them there, like the whole group.
Sure.
And they kind of look at you, they're quiet, but they're really nice people.
Yeah.
People, they get a bad rep.
I got some really good friends that are Iron
Yeah,
Horsemen.
so they get a bad rep. They're really nice people.
Yeah.
But I walked in all the time, and one day he's like, "Hey, come stop by and get money." Well, he forgot he was hosting a party that night with them.
Yeah.
And I walk in, and there's groups of them, like just in little patches. And they're like, "Having a great day?" I said, "Yeah." And next group, "Having a great day?" I'm like, "Yeah." weird. And next one, having a great day. I'm like, all right, this is weird now.
This is weird.
There's
This is
something
getting
else.
weird now.
And I walk in, and the guy looks at me. He's like, I'll meet you outside. Okay, and I walk out there, and he's talking to me, and he gives me money, and we leave. He calls me an hour later. He's like, you know, they think that you got the biggest set of balls. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, that wasn't my group. That was a different biker group, like a different Iron Horseman group. They didn't know who you were. They just thought you were some random kid that had the biggest kahunas to walk into.
Just walk in, yeah.
Yeah, so here I am. They thought I was just some dude walked in and, like, not scared by him or anything. I didn't know where I was.
Was you supposed to be?
Well, they didn't know I was coming.
Oh,
and they didn't know who I was, so they just thought I was some random kid walking in.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my God, this guy's got some balls.
Yeah.
Walking right into the eye of the storm. So
Yeah.
no, they're really cool people. Another one, Kramer Plumbing. I mean, he his son races go-karts. I was helping him out. They had a rough night one night. I just offered to help him out. Ended up finishing like second in their feature.
Yeah.
And I joked with him like, hey, you want to sponsor me? And he said, sponsor what? I sent a picture of the car. He's like, how much? And I threw a number out there. He's like, okay. And
It's stuck.
that's where it stuck. So
Nice.
Waterways down in Lawrenceburg,
Okay.
Waterways Marina. He was at my work one day, and I was helping him find some parts for his trailer. And he's like, how's racing going? We were talking, and I said, you should sponsor the left side of the car. He said, why the left side? I said, because it's plain.
Yeah.
I said, everyone wants the right side. He's like, how much? I threw a number, and he's like, let me go get my checkbook. So
Get the checkbook.
yeah, so, and then MJD, Pallet Liquidation, they've been on board with since I was in go-karts. So,
Yeah,
I mean, they're awesome people. I'm really lucky to have the support I do this year. And then BR Willis, which is also Waterways. He's got two companies.
Okay.
So, yeah, like I said, I'm very, very, very thankful and lucky to have the sponsors I do. So,
Sound like you've got a few.
yeah, there are a lot. I was kind of worried I was going to run out of room at one point. I've never ran into that problem before.
Yeah,
so.
that's a good problem to have.
Yeah, it is a good problem, but I'm like, there's probably going to be a problem halfway through the year if we keep getting more.
We'll make it work.
Yeah, we'll make it work.
Make it work. Great. So coming up here this weekend, you're going to Atomic.
Yep, Atomic. I think it's just a local race, normal.
Okay.
They race for about $1,000. I think Lawrenceburg races for about $1,500.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's not like, you jump in this into a smaller motor, you're not losing money,
Right.
Actually, the first night we went to that national race, it was like $3,500 to win, $500 just to start the race.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, you're right. Retires isn't as much either, so that's another good thing. They're about $280 and
Save a little money there.
save a little money. Yeah, I think a non-wing.
Anywhere you can save a little money is a good thing.
I think a non-wing tire right now, like a right rear, is like $340.
Ouch.
Yeah, that sucks. Tires are everything anymore.
Tires are everything.
And they don't even stay together.
Yeah, that's a whole nother problem.
Mm-hmm.
No.
So,
There you go. You'll have that. Anything else before we wrap up?
and I think that's it. I don't know if you got anything.
I'm good. I think this has been a good little episode.
Oh, take two.
Take two, yeah. The first one that didn't work out might have been a little bit better, but, you technicalities.
I just hope this one's got audio.
Nah, you and me both.
Yeah. If now we're going to have to reschedule for another day.
I tell you what. So this has bit me. I don't know. I haven't figured out why it's happened. But it's happened a few times. Sit down and do a whole episode, and then when I check, I have no audio. And I do the audio checks and everything's great, and then all of a sudden, no audio.
Nothing.
So
And it's funny, you did a couple takes too, and it still wouldn't work.
Working. So we're hoping this one worked. We'll get it figured out.
If not, we'll have to reschedule again.
Cool. Well, Jacob, thanks for taking the time, man. Thanks for having me out and tell me your story and all that good stuff.
Yeah, and I appreciate you having me on because I've been wondering. I actually saw your post with Carly. I'm like, man, I'm gonna be there one day, and then you messaged me like
the
that
next
second. You're like, when you're ready, I'm like, oh, sweet, now.
I'm ready. Yep, absolutely. Cool. So we're going to wrap things up. Hope you guys like this episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that great stuff. You can check us out. He's going to be at Atomic this weekend. So when you guys see this, it's going to be the weekend before. This weekend coming up is going to be the 17th and 18th. Northern All-Star Late Model Series are going to be at Circle City in Indianapolis. And then Saturday night, the 18th, they're going to be at Lawrenceburg Speedway. So don't forget to check both of those races out. It's going to be good times. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that great stuff, and we'll see you then. Thanks.